Tales by Tabletop is a story adapted from sessions of Dungeons & Dragons. It follows the saga of a trio of adventurers, Laeran, Rosjen, and Tim.
Welcome, dear listeners, to the third chapter of our story. When we last left our heroes, they had traveled to Vettori, a town that rose out of the drained swamplands of a slain great black dragon. The day they arrived, Laeran the cleric, Rosjen the monk, and Tim the bard ended their contract with Edwin Cartwright, a vulgar and unrepentantly belligerent merchant. With no other duties for the evening, they headed to Vettori's curiously named tavern, the Swampy Donkey. We were introduced to Aldo Lightleaf, the halfling proprietor of the tavern, and reacquainted with his little girl, Mandy, who had still not found her brother after a day of hide-and-seek. As the light of the next morning blooms above the small town, and the sun's rays warm the farmlands, we turn once again to our heroes. A sharp knock raps on the door to Laeran's room.
Yes, hold on. Let me slip some pants on. Yes. What?
It's me, Mr. Lightleaf. Would you please open the door so we may speak in private?
Yes, certainly.
Aldo Lightleaf stands in the doorway holding a small cup of a black, bitter liquid. He looks as if he has not slept all night and is still wearing the previous day's clothes. His face is tight, and he works his jaw while Laeran looks him over.
Bloody hell. You look like you could do with some laundry. What can I do for you?
I think I may need your help.
Of course.
Laeran opens the door wide and ushers the weary halfling inside the simple room. The many scars on Laeran's body do not faze Aldo, and he simply walks past him and climbs up on the only chair in the room. He stares at the floor and fidgets impatiently while Laeran fishes a shirt out from his belongings.
We've been looking all night and I still haven't found my boy.
I see. That is quite serious.
He's never been gone this long before. He knows to stay close, but he's at the age when boys like to go where they're not allowed, and I worry that he's ventured off to who knows where and fallen or is hurt, and I just can't find him.
When did you last see him?
Yesterday. He and his sister were playing. From what I've gathered, the Manchester saw him go through their garden and into the forest to the south.
Strange. We may have just missed him. Our caravan passed close by the woods yesterday when we arrived. Well, I will talk with my companions, but I assure you, we will help. You have my word, Aldo.
Thank you. It means everything to me.
It's quite all right. It's a terrible thing to fear for the safety of one's child. This may be a silly question, but is the commonry room open?
Yes, it's open at all hours.
Marvelous!
Aldo excuses himself from Laeran's room and makes his way downstairs, still consumed with anxiety about his son's whereabouts. To help keep his fears in check, he begins to make a mental list of chores for the day to distract himself. From the doorway, Laeran watches the beleaguered halfling leave, his face tight and eyes fixed on the floor. Laeran then steps back into the room and closes the door slowly. He gently picks up his worn Book of Kelemvor from the small table in the room and kneels to pray in preparation for what would surely be a difficult day. After speaking the closing words of his prayer, he rises and dons his chainmail shirt and bracers. With his shield at his back and his mace at his hip, he settles into the familiar feeling of his armor and heads downstairs. The tavern is empty, save for Toby, the tiefling waiter, and who, at a glance, seems to have also had a sleepless night. His skin has taken on a slightly ashen pallor, and his eyes are bloodshot. Toby meets Laeran's gaze as he walks down the stairs to the common area. The tiefling knows he failed Aldo, who has now turned to the newcomers for help. Suddenly filled with shame, he averts his eyes and goes back to his morning chores. Laeran shifts his gaze back to the rest of the common area. He spots a large cutting board sitting on the bar and smiles.
Delightful! Something cold on the board. Well. What do we have here? Bread from last night, a link of dried sausage, a bit of cheese. Excellent. Oh, a few pickles. Superb. Toby, a pint if you would, please.
Laeran breaks off some hunks of bread and sausage, making sure to get enough samples of each to complement the cheese and pickles. He wraps some in cloth and eats the rest, but not before downing his pint first. He takes another pint and the bit of wrapped food upstairs for Rosjen. He hopes she'll know where the bard wandered off to last night.
Roz, I've brought you something.
Good morning.
Good morning. I thought you could use some breakfast.
Rosjen stretches and slowly stands up from the corner of the floor where she slept, which she preferred over the bed. A lifetime of monastic living teaches one to eschew worldly comforts.
Why are we up so early?
Well, it seems that our gracious host's son has gone missing, and
Wait.
we...
David's still not here?
Oh, you seem to
Rosjen quickly wraps herself in her clothes and opens the door.
be familiar with the situation. Here, try not to drink the whole pint all at once.
Thank you. What do we know?
The Manchesters, I believe it was, claimed to have seen him. They told Aldo he was seen to the south, possibly going to the forest. I have not met them, but I suggest we speak to them first.
Absolutely. I've been worried about him since yesterday. When Mandy came in last night and said she hadn't found him, I wanted to look for him for myself, but Aldo didn't seem worried.
Do you have any idea where our other companion is?
Oh, I have a feeling we should look outside.
Meanwhile, sleeping upside down in a ditch next to the trash cans in the stables, Tim has plummeted from the sweet embrace of blissful drunkenness and into the tight shackles of a particularly vengeful hangover. Slowly, he makes the familiar groveling and solemn vows to never touch another bottle again and to please grant him the power to wake up.
Well, if he is outside, I might need to get him something, shall we say, with a bit of a punch. Toby, my good lad, is the bar open for something stronger than the breakfast stout?
It might take me a moment, but yes, sir.
I will need a raw egg and 2 shots of your white lightning.
White lightning, sir?
Oh yes, my apologies. That is a colloquial name from my homeland. It's usually a clear liquid with a slightly spicy smell. It's just the thing for expelling the spirits of those who had too much to drink.
Yes, sir. I think we have something like that. One moment, please.
Rosjen continues to scarf down bread and cheese from the cold board until the tiefling returns with a small glass of a foul-smelling liquid and an egg.
Do you think we need to get him some breakfast?
No, that would do him a great deal more harm than good. Now to find him.
It doesn't take the pair long to find their companion.
Laeran, over here, I found him.
Eat a Minotaur dick hangover.
Rise and shine, my lad.
Tim shields his eyes from the morning sun spilling into the barn.
I would spare you from death, but it appears you are still, if just only, in the land of the living. More's the pity for you. What a wretched mess you are, friend. Pants down to your knees, smudged lipstick? And what's that at your temple?
Don't worry about that. That's a horn mark. What? Who are you?
Your guardian angel, son.
Ugh. What?
Here, drink this.
I don't wanna.
Drink it.
Tim resigns himself to the man clad in heavy armor. He tilts his head back, holds his breath, and swallows the glass's entire contents in one gulp. His eyes bulge and throat tightens as he realizes he has made a terrible mistake and swallowed 2 shots of vinegar and a raw egg. His stomach lurches, spasms, and then suddenly he violently voids its entire contents onto the stable floor.
Oh, God, Asmodeus' tits, that's f***ing terrible. Oh.
Awake now, are we? Here, take some of the water from my skin, and if I detect even a hint of backwash, I will harm you.
Thank you.
Slowly now. Come with me. We have work to do.
Work? What work? What happened?
Pull up your pants, then we will talk.
Tim wrenches himself into a standing position, fumbles with his breeches until he fixes them, then half-heartedly brushes off most of the hay stuck in his clothes and hair. Rosjen leans against the barn door, feeling a mixture of awe and bewilderment, at how Tim's body continues to function.
The son of the innkeeper has gone missing. No one has seen him since yesterday. While you were carousing, he may have gotten lost in the nearby forest. But do not guilt yourself too hard. Nothing seems amiss, and we were all asleep. But now we need to find him. It is the right thing to do.
Uh-huh. I'm still a little hazy. Where are we again? What happened last night? The last thing I remember was being on a caravan. What happened to that Fiddler Cartwright?
Nothing. We did nothing.
Well, we quit.
We were going to rob him and make a few donations around town, but you split, and this one went to bed early.
Damn shame. That guy was an
Without question.
I remember something about kobolds?
Yes, good. We fought kobolds. You're doing great. Is there anything else you remember?
And something about sewing. Crocheting? Definitely something about stitching. Stitching! Undead! Necromancer! It's all coming back! Whoa! So now someone's kid is missing?
You have the size of it. Come, we must get your kit from the inn. We have a bit of walking to do.
Hold on. I need my cloak. Sunlight. Eyes. Ow.
Finally ready to head out, they walk with Tim to the inn to gather his things from the common room. Rosjen sneaks a few more slices of bread and cheese with the intent of packing a snack for the road ahead. Toby cautiously approaches Rosjen.
Excuse me, Miss Halfling. There is something important you need to know about the woods to the south.
Why are we whispering? Is it a secret?
The forest. Strange things happen there. There's rumors of lights that dance among the trees, and voices that call from the shadows. I think there may be fae in the woods.
Does anyone else think so, or is it just you?
I don't know if anyone else knows. I just want to give you a friendly... Well, anyway, the child might have been lured in. Just be careful.
Thank you, Toby.
I'll let my companions know.
Toby nods and returns to his morning duties. Once Laeran gets Tim's gear sorted, they and Rosjen head south toward the Manchester's farm. On the way, Rosjen relays the warning Toby gave her.
Fairies? I f***ing hate fairies. Why does it have to be fairies?
You know, I don't think I've ever met a fairy.
Well, everybody be on your best behavior. Remember your sirs and madams. Manners maketh man or woman.
Yeah, you have to be so polite to the fae. It's why they're so infuriating.
Say nice things to them, especially when they do not deserve it.
Don't say anything behind their backs.
We call them the goodly folk. Never use their common name.
Never make a joke about their mom, no matter how funny it might be.
Never make any promises or deals with them. Do not eat or drink anything they offer. Do not stay with them.
Laeran, they aren't owlbears, man.
No, they're just things from my father told me very frightening stories of them when I was a boy, all right?
The stories I could tell. About 25 years ago, there was this really big party, and you know what? That's not really important right now. Let's go find those kids. I love kids.
God's teeth.
Well, right now, it is just one. Hopefully.
The trio take the main road south and quickly make it to the Manchester's farm just as the sun is cresting over the treetops. When they get close enough, Rosjen recognizes the field that Mandy ran through. There's a human male, they assume to be Mr. Manchester, working close to the house, shooing some chickens out of a pen.
Good morrow to you, sir.
Yup. Morning.
Well met. We are looking for a lad.
Yup.
David.
Yup. You lot didn't find him?
That's a shame. I haven't even looked for him.
Quiet. We heard that this area is one of his haunts.
Yeah. No. Haunts? What, a ghost?
A place that he's around a lot.
Yup. He comes round here often to play with the goat.
A goat.
Is the goat here right now?
I should be.
Can I see it?
Yeah. What, now?
I need to speak with your goat.
A look of confusion and concern plays over Mr. Manchester's face.
Oh, don't worry, I speak goat.
Mr. Manchester looks nervously at Laeran, hoping he has some kind of clarification.
The man says he speaks goat.
By that, what I mean is, I know a little bit of magic. I'd like to see if this goat has some information about the boy's whereabouts.
Oh, saddle! This way.
Mr. Manchester leads the trio around to the side of the house to a pen with a few pigs and the aforementioned goat. It's sleeping next to the fence with a chicken perched on top of its head. Tim turns again to the farmer.
What does the goat like to eat?
What? It's a goat, mate. It just eats.
Well, do you give it treats or anything? Does the kid feed it anything special?
Oh, that boy feeds all sorts of garbage. I don't know.
All right, there's nothing around here. You guys have any food?
Rosjen puts her hand over the place where she's been keeping the food from breakfast. Laeran, however, begins to fish something out of his pockets.
I have a pickle from this morning. Here.
Yes, good. Okay, here, goat. Who's a good goat?
Tim begins to move close to the goat, the pickle in his outstretched hand. The goat jumps to its feet and stretches its neck out to take the pickle. Once it does, Tim unslings his guitar and strums a small tune.
Hi, goat.
Hi.
What's up, goat? Have you seen David?
The little halfling boy?
Yes, I hear he likes to play with you.
Yes, I saw him before night.
Do you know where he went?
Maybe.
Ooh, what's he saying?
Yes, out with it.
I'm working on it. Don't get your britches in the twist. Could you lead us to him?
Nay.
Was that a horse joke? Whatever. Where did he go?
Do you have any more food?
I might have another pickle if you remember more. Have you seen any mean people go into the woods?
Yes, small, black-scaled lizard things. They took chickens.
It says some kobolds stole some chickens. If the kobolds are dead, then they don't need to eat. Maybe they were using the chickens for something else.
If those little rascals have been stealing chickens, it must be because the necromancer needs to eat.
I mean, what else could it be? But from what the goat says, it sounds like we'll only have to deal with the living, or as living as undead kobolds can be, and not fairies. How long ago was this?
Time is a construct created by man.
I knew it. Time is an illusion. Take that, Stephen Hawking, you hack. You are indeed very wise, Master Goat. Thank you.
Tim bows his head, and the goat rears back slightly and rams its head into Tim's.
Did you bite your tongue? Are you all right?
I'm fine. We know the boy went into the woods, though.
The adventurers thank Mr. Manchester and head toward the tree line.
I don't know a lot about the Fae. Could they be behind this?
Generally, they frown on that type of behavior.
So, about the Fae. Do you know cuttlefish? How they have those little...
What's a cuttlefish?
Have you never had cuttlefish pie?
Is that like lamprey pie?
Well, they both have ingredients that come from the sea, yes. Otherwise, they are completely different in every possible way. So, no, I suppose it's not like lamprey pie at all. In any case, the cuttlefish is a sort of fish, except that it has no bones, and has these appendages, like 10 little arms.
Oh, you mean like an octopus or a squid?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, so it's a type of mollusk.
You don't know what a cuttlefish is, but you know what a mollusk is?
What? Mollusk pie is delicious.
Oh, God's teeth. Well, if we meet any goodly people, try not to call them the Fae or the Fairy. Imagine that they are just the tips of those cuttlefish tentacles, and the rest of the fish is beyond, in another realm.
I'm even more confused now.
He means there's a larger mind somewhere else.
And those lights are just bright little fishing lures.
Oh!
Tim leads the way along the tree line, looking for David's tracks while also keeping an eye out for kobolds. After a few minutes, Rosjen gets bored and begins to do flips and cartwheels while Laeran and Tim look around. After a few minutes of walking on her hands, it's Rosjen that notices something first.
Guys, look! I found some tiny footprints! I think they're David's!
Well done, Roz.
Uh-oh. Oh no! There are clawed footprints too, and they're going in the same direction.
You know, if there's a necromancer behind all of this, maybe he just wants us to think there's Fae in the forest, to cover up for the kobolds.
Oh, this is refreshing. I've never seen your strengths before. I didn't know you were this smart, Tim.
They begin to make their way into the forest. Rosjen leads the way, walking on her hands as she follows the trail.
Tales by Tabletop is a series supported by a dedicated team. They make this project happen and infinitely more fun. Laeran is played by Jim Cook and voiced by Jay DeGraff. Rosjen is played by Misty Harper and voiced by Jazlyn Pintar. Tim is voiced and played by Phil Boelche. Your narrator is David Nellor. Guest voice acting provided by Zac McAuley, Travis Nellor, and Steve Vettori. Story coordinators are Mike Becker, Chris Hultin, and Zac McAuley. Sound effects provided by freesound.org, and music provided by tabletopaudio.com. The theme for Tales by Tabletop was created by David Vass. This show is edited and directed by Zac McAuley, Travis Nellor, and is produced by Michael Blackard.